Hi everyone, it's Bethany, and in this video I am going to show you how to not only make a Cricut Joy card from scratch, but I'm also going to show you how to write inside of a Cricut Joy card that is horizontal. So I have done a tutorial on how to write inside of a Cricut Joy card, but my tutorial was for a vertical card that went this way. And during that tutorial, so many of you have been asking, how do I write inside my card if it goes the other way, so horizontally? So I'm going to show you how easy that is. It's very, very simple. And we're going to be making a card from scratch today. And since we are a few days from Halloween, I thought it would be fun just to do a little Halloween card. So for this project, we are going to use one of the Cricut Joy cards. This particular card came from the Princess Sampler, so it's just a nice pale blue. And then I went ahead and cut my own insert card, and it tells you the dimensions for everything on the front of the box of cards. So the insert cards are simply 4 inches by 5.25 inches if you'd like to cut your own. I'll also place a link to a tutorial up in the corner on how to make your own insert cards because it's so easy. Aside from the card, we're also going to be using the Cricut Joy card mat. We're also going to be adding some adhesive vinyl to the front of our card, so I also grabbed my regular standard grip Cricut Joy mat. I also have my Cricut Joy pen that came with my machine that will be used to write inside the card. I have a tiny piece of scrap vinyl. This is just Oracle 651 scrap vinyl. I have a couple little embellishments for the card, and then for my adhesive vinyl, I have some paper masking transfer tape, which is really, really nice for working on paper. And then I have my scraper tool and a weeding tool. I'm always happy to do tutorials for questions that you have, so if you have a specific tutorial in mind or something that you would like to see coming up, be sure to pop down into the comment section below and add your idea. Alright, let's hop into Cricut Design Space and we will get this card designed. Okay, so even though we have a pre-made Cricut Joy already ready to go, we are going to make a template for our card that we're working with, and this is purely just going to help us size and start designing all of the elements that are going to go on the card and be written on the card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the shapes and I am going to select the square. Now I'm going to size this for my Cricut Joy card. So I am going to go up to my width, and the Cricut Joy card dimensions are just on the top of the box that is given with the Cricut Joy card. So you have the dimensions with you, but if you don't have them, the width for a horizontal card is going to be the 5.5 with the height of 4.25. And again, you want to make sure that you unlock this so that your height and width can be different. So that is going to be the width. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lock this card, and then I'm going to come up here to blue and make it blue just because that is the front of our card. It's just going to help me visually get everything designed. Then I'm going to go ahead and with this rectangle selected, I'm going to come over and duplicate it, and I'm going to be making the inside of my card. Again, these are just templates. These are not actually going to be created on the Joy. This is just helping us get everything designed and sized. Because I'm working with something white, let's go ahead and change our canvas color. I'm coming down to blank canvas. With that selected, I'll come up to the color box right up here. It's very hard to see. I really wish that they would actually redesign this because it's a little hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and select this little white box, and then I'm just going to make the background gray just so that we have a little bit more contrast. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to images, and I am going to type in insert cards. This is going to allow me to find some of the corners that we can use to create our little cutouts in the corners for our insert card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going just to select one that I like. I like this one right here. I think that's really cute, and it could possibly be a little Halloween-y, so I like that. And then what I'm going to do is I selected it. It's down here in my queue, which allows me to go ahead and search for something different. I'm going to go ahead and search for ghost, and I'm just going to scroll through here and see what I like best. I actually like this little sleepy ghost. I'm actually going to do a little contouring to him because I have some other ideas of how I'm going to add in some eyes after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the images, and then you're going to see that you have the insert card cutouts right here. So with shift held down on my keyboard, I'm going to use this circular toggle, and I'm just going to flip this around. Now with the shift button held down, it just helps you to move that incrementally, and it helps to make sure everything stays aligned. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card, and what I will do now is I'm just going to go ahead and line that up together. So I'm going to select my 4 card cutouts. So I'm going to select my little corners and I'm going to select my card and I'm just going to say align and I'm going to say center, and that makes sure that my card cutouts corners are all centered on my card. Now I'm going to come to the ghost. I'm going to bring him down and I'm going to click the contour button that is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And I am just going to decrease this so I can find our little ghost. And I'm just going to remove the eyes and the nose. I'm also going to remove the inside as well. That way it is just a cutout. So it's just a silhouette at this point. I'm going to click X, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to come over to duplicate and duplicate the ghost twice. So I have a total of 3 little ghosts here. Then I'm going to go ahead and select all 3 of them and just size them down for my card. I think that is about right. Might need to size those down just a little bit more. Okay. So that looks good to me. Now what I'm going to do is with just the 3 ghosts selected, I am going to come up to align and I'm going to say distribute horizontally. That makes sure they're evenly spaced in between one another. And then back up to align, I'm going to say align bottom, and that makes sure that the ghosts are all lined up at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and attach my little ghosts together because they are exactly how I want them now, so I just want to make sure they stay that way. So now what I'm going to do is I really like how my ghosts and my corner cutouts look. I love how everything is arranged. So I'm just going to select my ghosts and my 4 corner cuts, and I am going to weld them all together. That just makes sure that they always stay right here. Now this is a cut, so this is going to cut out of my card, and I have the little template here of what's going to cut. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the text, and I am going to add a little text for the front of my card, and this is what's going to be cut out of the vinyl. So I'm going to go up to font and I'm going to search for Farmland Fresh. This is a font that I got from Font Bundles. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I am just going to say boo to you and a little exclamation point. Then I'm going to cut this out of white vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select white up here. I'm going to size this down, and this is going to go right on my card right up here. So I think that sizing looks really great just like that. I might make it a tad bigger actually. And I don't need to worry about centering on my card because this is going to be added separately because it's going to be on adhesive vinyl. Okay, so now what I can do is I have the front of my card done. So what I can do is I can actually take the template and hide it because this is going to be cut out of the card that we already have, and then this is going to be cut out of adhesive vinyl. So the template has been used and it's now done. Now we're going to go to the inside of the card, and we are going to create the inside sentiment, and I'm going to show you how to write with the pen on a horizontal Cricut Joy card. So I'm going to come over to text, and when you are using the pen, you want to find certain fonts that work well for writing, and I'm going to show you a quick way to do that. I'm going to come up to my font. I'm just going to exit out here so it refreshes, and then I'm going to come over to filter. The filter is a small little button over here. It's to the right of the magnifying glass. So I'm going to go ahead and select filter, and I'm going to filter for writing fonts. The writing fonts all do very, very well with the pen feature. So when you filter for writing fonts, you can scroll through and know that these fonts do really, really good with the pen. I actually know the name that I'm using, so I'm going to type in Knickerbocker, and I'm going to select that font. And with that font selected, I'm going to write happy, and then I'm going to hit the return button on my keyboard to go to the next line and say Halloween. Now if you notice my little O fills in here, so what I need to do is I need to come up to the line type here, and it's set to cut, and I'm going to say draw. The style is already set to writing, but I was also changing the line type to draw, and you'll see that it goes ahead and fixes that little O. Now I'm going to bring this over here real quick. I'm going to come over to alignment, and I'm going to say center. That way it centers my little sentiment. And then I'm going to come up to line spacing, and I'm going to decrease my line spacing, and that makes it so that the space between my lines is less, so it draws them together more. So I'm just decreasing that, and I'm going to keep decreasing it until I'm happy with where that's at, which is about right there. And now I can just pull that up to my card. I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit smaller. Okay, and now I'm going to add Love Bethany. And I went ahead and added this in a separate text box because I'm going to make it a smaller size. So that makes it easy to do it that way. I'm going to go over to my shapes really quick and I'm going to grab a heart. Instead of writing out love, I'm just going to have a heart. So I'm going to select the heart shape. And right now you'll see that it is a cut heart. You'll see in your layer panel it says cut. But I want this to be a draw. So I'm going to come up to my line type and it says cut right now. I'm going to go ahead and select draw. Now a lot of you in my last tutorial were wondering how you could get your heart to be hollow like mine was, and that is how. You just have to go up to line type and elect it to draw out. Okay, now I have my little heart. I'm going to come over to text and I'm going to use the same Knickerbocker text and I'm just going to spell out my name, Bethany. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and decrease that, bring it up here, and I like the size. So I'm going to go ahead and select my heart and Bethany. I'm going to go ahead and attach those together, and then I'm going to select my heart Bethany, Love Bethany, and the Happy Halloween. And then I am going to come up to a line and I'm going to say center horizontally and just make sure that everything is centered together. Now you'll notice up here that it has an alert next to my text, one of my texts. And when you click on that alert, it says not supported by Joy, pen incompatible, change pen selection. And this really had me scratching my head today. I don't know if I was just too tired or what, but I couldn't figure out why it was saying that because of course the pen is fine for the Joy. But what happened is if you come over to line type, you'll see it says draw, but right next to it, it has a little question mark. So what you need to do is you need to click on that question mark and actually make a pen selection. So I'm just using black, so I'm going to go ahead and say black. And now I want to make sure that both have the same pen. So I am going to just make sure that my heart also says black and my Happy Halloween also says black, which they do. But if you don't make sure that everything is using the same pen, the Joy is going to ask you to insert a different pen later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select my Love Bethany and my Happy Halloween. And I am going to attach those together. Now attaching them together ensures that the pen is going to write them out in the exact place that I have them placed on the screen here. So I want to make sure everything is placed exactly how I designed it. Okay, now again, you're just going to hide this rectangle in the back because we don't need it to be cutting out a rectangle for us on the Joy. We already have our card and we're all set to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. But one more thing, I'm going to go ahead and just, even though this is going to be white vinyl, it's going to make sense on the next screen if I just make this a different color. So I'm just going to make this pink. That way it places it on a different mat because if not, it's going to want to place it on the same mat as this Happy Halloween. I want them to be on separate mats. So now that I hit make it, I am going to go ahead and select the multiple ways option. And I'm selecting that because I'm going to be creating a card on the card mat, but I'm also going to be cutting out some adhesive vinyl on a different mat. So this is going to allow me to use two separate mat types. So I'm selecting multiple ways and saying done. For the first mat, I need to tell it that this sentiment is going to be on the card mat. And then I need to tell the material size is going to be 4.25 by 5.5 because that is the size of my Joy card. Now remember, when you put your card on the card mat, the actual fold of the card goes over here. So we want to make sure that we put our sentiment in the correct direction. So with Shift held down on my keyboard, I'm going to make sure that my sentiment goes this way because again, the fold is right here. That way it goes in the correct direction and writes in the correct direction. Okay, so now you can place this anywhere you want, but the point right now and the important thing is that you need to place this manually where you want it to draw on the card. Now your card has this little template right here, so you know the size of your card. So now you just need to put it where you want. I'm personally going to center mine. You can put it up at the top, you can put it down, whatever visually is your goal. But I'm going to center mine. That looks good to me. Now I'm going to move on to my next mat. This is going to be on a card mat as well. Again, this is going to be the front, so I'm going to say on card mat. And then this is going to also be 4.25 by 5.5. And again, what I need to do is holding down the shift button is I need to rotate this around because my card mat right here is going to be having the fold on the left-hand side. Okay, so those two mats are all set. Going down to my third, I'm just going to say we are doing on a mat. Now, what's really important is I like to do the inside of my card first, because if you do the front of your card first, then you have to put your card back inside the card mat, and then it kind of gets a little delicate. So I'll show you what I mean on the other screen, but just know that it's best to do the inside of the card first before you do your design on the outside. So now I'm going to go and browse all materials, and then I am going to say insert cardstock right here. And then I will do the same selection right here for insert cardstock for the front, and then I'll come back in and just use the premium vinyl setting for my vinyl. All right, let's go ahead and get cutting. Okay, you guys, I know that was a lot of designing in design space, but once you get the hang of it, it goes a lot quicker. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my card, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to fold it inside out, because again, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write on the inside of my card. So if you haven't used the card mat, there's a little sleeve. You just open and pull up that sleeve. You flip the card on the back side of the card inside the little sleeve, and then you will go ahead and close the front onto the sticky top. I will go ahead and open up my Joy and auto load my mat. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my pen. So to load my pen, I'm just going to open up this clamp, get the blade out and set it to the side. And I'm going to open up my pen. I like to put my cap on top so I don't lose it. And I'm just going to drop it in. You don't have to push it. You just drop it in, and then I'm going to shut the little clamp. Okay, then I can select go on my computer, and it will start drawing out the inside of my sentiment on my horizontal Cricut Joy card. Now, it does not draw in the order that you think it will. It kind of keeps you on your toes. It kind of draws in a random order. So now it has a little bit of Happy Halloween. It has the Y from my name, and then it's going up to do the Y from another one. So it's kind of fun to watch because it kind of goes in a very random order. Okay, so it's already done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my clamp and take my pen out. Put my cap back on, and then I can reinsert my blade. Okay, so I'm also going to unload my mat, and I am going to carefully bend my mat and then get my card off of the card mat. Okay, so now this is why, okay, first here's the little sentiments written horizontally. How cute is that? I love that font. It's very sweet, and it's centered just perfectly. So now here's why I like to do this part first, because the next part is you're going to fold it traditionally like a card would be, placing your sentiment inside, and then you're going to be placing this back underneath so that it can cut on the outside. Now, if you were to cut first, then what would happen is once you had all of your nice delicate cuts, you'd have to put all those delicate cuts inside of the card mat. And for me, I'm just always worried that it's going to snag or it's not going to quite, you know, do it quite right, just because I'm so worried it's going to ruin what I did on the outside. So I like to do the inside first, and then I like to go ahead and do the outside second. Okay, that's loading in. Again, the setting is insert cardstock. I'm selecting go on my device, and it's going to now cut out my little ghosts. While that's cutting out, I can prepare my next mat, and I am just going to use a little standard grit mat. I have a little piece of Oracle 651, and I'm going to just place my vinyl right on my mat here and have it ready to be loaded next. Okay, that's already done. I'm going to click unload. And then I like to use my little spatula tool as well to help take my cards off of my mat. So I just slip my little spatula in there, and I just kind of rotate my wrist a little bit, and it pops right off. Okay, so now it kind of self-weeds itself on the mat, but if not, you just take your little pop-outs and take them right out. Okay, so here's the little outside of the card, and then the written sentiment inside, and we still have some designing to do, but let's go ahead and get our vinyl cut out. Okay, again, this is the premium vinyl setting. I'm going to go ahead and select go on my device, and then while that's doing that, what I can do is I can go ahead and grab my little insert card that I cut myself with my paper trimmer, and I can place that inside my card. I'm just going to place that in the 4 little corners that cut just as we wanted them to. And then here is the outside of my little card. How cute are they? Okay, so what I was thinking was I would use these little cute little rhinestones to put the eyes on the ghosts. And I've had these for a long time. I used them for my kiddos' birthday party invitations. I believe I got them at Hobby Lobby probably. But I'm just going to take 2 at a time, and I'm just going to place them on the little card. Okay, so I'm just using my fingers. You could also use tweezers, I suppose, if you needed a little assistance with these small pieces. But I'm just placing the little tiny little rhinestones, I guess they're called. Just a little embellishment, just a nice shiny embellishment. But I'm using those for the little eyes, just because I wanted them to still have some eyes, but I wanted them to be cute little ghosts. So I'm just placing those right on there. And we should be all set for the next part of designing. Okay, there we go. These are so cute. I love how those turned out. Okay, so now I'm going to unload my mat. Perfect. And I'm going to take my vinyl off of my mat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to also trim off my extra pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and take some scissors and just trim off my extras so I can use it for another project. And I'll just place this in my scrap bin right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away. And then what I like to do before weeding is I like to turn my piece over and just really scrape it down. And that just ensures that everything is in its place. I like to do it for things that are smaller in nature too. Make sure we get everything off. I'm going to grab my weeding tool and I'm just going to pierce a little corner. And I'm going to go ahead and weed out everything that I don't want in my final design. And I know I have a little tiny dot here for my exclamation point. So I'm just going to make sure that that stays down, which it did. And then I'm going to slowly peel away the rest, just like this. Okay, now I'll take my weeding tool still, and I will go ahead and just weed out the middles of my letters. So the B and the O's, and the O and the O, lots of O's. Okay, so now I like to use this masking paper transfer tape when I am working with placing vinyl on paper. And I like to do this because it's very light grip and it's very gentle, so it would not rip the paper, as opposed to if you were using something that's more aggressive. Other transfer tapes will just rip your paper right off. And you guys will see in a moment why this part is more important for using this transfer tape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place my transfer tape over my design, scrape it down, turn it over, scrape it down additionally on the back, and then I like to, with it still face down, I then go ahead and peel away my carrier sheet that it was cut on, and that just leaves the vinyl right on my transfer tape. Okay, so now what I can do is bring my card in, and I am just going to center this where I'd like it on the top of the card. Okay, and that looks good to me. I'm going to just set that down with my fingers, and I'm not going to use my scraper tool to scrape this down. It's just going on paper, and I have good control with my fingers. And then also, because I don't want to get it so sticky down on there with the transfer tape that it interferes with the paper, but now it just comes off effortlessly. And this right here is why you want to use a light grip transfer tape, because then it won't rip the paper as it's pulling up. Okay, so then there's the little letters. How cute is that? Okay, and then my final idea for this was I thought it would be really cute just to put some little of these, I guess, other embellishments. They're just some little pink ones, but I thought it would be cute to kind of place these around, maybe as to resemble like a polka dot or just some fun little dots on here, just to bring some more dimension and fun to this little card. Okay, so that's how that turned out. I think it turned out really, really cute. So we have a couple other additional embellishments. Those were actually purchased at Hobby Lobby as well, I believe. But I love how the little ghosts turn out. Super easy to design your own little card using vinyl and doing your own cutouts that you would like. Add some embellishments. That's so cute and fun as well. And then you open it up and you have your little sentiment written horizontally on the inside of your card. So super quick, super easy. I love how this turned out. Also, I want to remind you, starting November 1st, we are going to be starting my Cricut Craft gift guide. It runs for 15 days in a row every single day from November 1st to November 15th, and I'm going to be showing you 15 amazing crafts that you can do with all 3 Cricut machines. So we're going to be rotating all 3 in and out of the videos, but we are going to be doing 15 days of crafts that you can make as gifts this year for Christmas, or you can make these for any type of occasion where you are going to be giving a gift. So birthdays, anniversaries, anything like that, even just because gifts. So be sure you're tuned in, be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single day, because all of them are so cute. I have them all recorded. They're ready to go. You're going to love it. All right, everyone, let me know what you think of this cute little card, as well as if you have any ideas of content that you want to see, be sure to let me know in the description box or in the comment section below. Oh, and also, speaking of the description box, all of the materials used in this video will be linked there. All right, everyone, I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day.